Yes. Welcome to Last Call Reacts. Welcome to the channel. Check out my videos. Do me a favor while you are here, man. Like, share, and subscribe for me. I do one newsworthy, whatever's floating on the interwebs, at least once a week. And I do a live, usually on Fridays, about 9 o'clock. So tap in if you can. Check out the videos, check out the vibes. Join us, man. Join us and help me build. And I appreciate that as we simply got to get into this. Now, you saw the thumbnail thingamajig, right? I'm going to go into this and tell you how I feel, and maybe from a couple different perspectives here as well. All right. Again, this is Last Call Reacts. I try to drop something once a week. I already got another one for you in store that I might drop a little sooner than later, but this is the one for the week because, of course, it's been on my mind a little bit. And the thing I'm talking about is a student, a high school student, maybe about 15 years old, by the name of Clara Adams. Now, let me read a little bit. You probably saw a few of these on some commentary online about it, but let me go ahead and read a few things. Let me show you a couple things in between that, and we'll get into some opinions as well. So I have a headline over here. High school track star disqualified over controversial celebration, reveals she is considering legal action. Now, if there is more to this, we could pick it up, but here are some of the highlights from this as well. All right. Oh, now I got something right in my way. Clara Adams, the high school athlete, disqualified for celebrating her 400-meter victory by spraying her shoes with a fire extinguisher. Now, if that sounds at all familiar, well, you might remember this. This is Maurice Green
running the 100-meter back in 2004.
2004.
What we do not know yet is that this race will not be remembered for the first time for the iconic shoes on fire celebration.
All right, great spectacle. You know, went to the meeting about it, I'm sure, you know, had a couple practice runs to go and be able to do that kind of thing. Now let me go back to this article over here that I had. Sorry, man, I got a bunch of tabs open. Boom, stickety boom. Adams, 16, copied the celebration first made by green medalist, as we saw, Maurice Green, when she crossed the line in first place at the California State High School Track and Field Championships, which were held on May 30th and May 31st. But the California Interscholastic Federation, CIF, decided that the celebration was unsportsmanlike. Why are they using sportsman? The time man gets everything bad. Chairman is now chairperson. There's no policeman, it's police officer. But we get to keep the bad ones like manslaughter and unsportsmanlike. Anyway, keep going on this. Now Adams, who was left devastated by the incident, and her father, David, are contemplating taking legal action unless CIF reinstates her title. Now, let me show you a little something here. Boom, boom. There she is.
I worked so hard for that title.
Clara Adams had just crossed the finish line as the winner in the 400 metres. A sophomore at North Salinas High School and one of the fastest runners in California. Her father, David, handed her a fire extinguisher. And away from her competitors, she sprayed it on her shoes as if they were on fire. a tribute to Olympic.
Now, of course, I gotta give you my commentary all the way through. Look, if you're looking on your right side here, the particles from this celebration, you got dudes like, what are you doing? Now, do I have to point out the obvious that what Maurice did was was an Olympian at the Olympics, and this is a 16-year-old in the middle of a track meet who has more competing to do that day, by the way. Anyway, here we go.
Olympic gold medalist Maurice Green.
Fair use.
But within moments, officials with the California Interscholastic Federation stepped in. They disqualified Adams, ruling her celebration as unsportsmanlike conduct.
When she blew the fire extinguisher, the opponents were gone. That was our moment of celebration, and CIF officials made that about them. The crowd went crazy. They loved it. The CIF booth went crazy. They loved it.
Now, here's the father. Now, he's saying the CIF, it was all about them. That could be argued over here. My argument would be for the father that it's all about him. Listen, we have to stop doing one thing here, which is garnering the attention and approval of the crowd. You are not there to please the crowd. You are there to beat a certain time according and inside the regulations. If that's your basis, that other people like these are people that have no accountability other than, whatever actions being out in public for themselves and not having that conduct outside of the event, disrupt the event. That's the only, they're not accountable to a coach. They're not accountable to the federation. They're not accountable to anybody else. So they are not your judge, Dad, to say, oh, well, people are going to enjoy the spectacle because you know what? They are not going to be responsible or accountable for any of the actions. So don't say, oh, they enjoyed it. This is very low IQ thinking. All right. He thought this would be a good idea. Definitely didn't think of how it would affect. This is like gassing your kid up to do anything, to protest, give a note to your teacher, or stand up in class, stand up to the bully, and not really thinking of the counter reaction or any of the consequence that may happen as well. That's a very low IQ statement that those guys liked it, and those guys they're gonna like all of that stuff. That's why you got Ron Artest jumping up in the stand, because it's not the approval of the crowd. People are going to get off the way that they do without being checked. Very poor judgment on the father, in my opinion.
But those few guys in those jackets, they took offense to it, didn't like it, and they made a decision based on emotions.
The ruling also meant she was not allowed to run in the 200 meters, a race she was favored to win. Maurice Green, the Olympic icon who made the move famous.
So this is the middle. Maurice Green, who did this, no other events going on around him, in the middle of the track, had another person do the fire extinguishing after he was done, the whole act and everything. We got to stop. Few sports lend themselves to the spectacle, right? We know football, we call this prime time, the whole deal does that. These young athletes haven't even made a name for themselves, like Angel Reese or Sha'Carri Richardson, all in that vein, showing all this attitude, this, that, the other, but you haven't even accomplished anything yet. But you're causing this controversy, the sense of entitlement before you do anything. You wedged this action into a track meet where it didn't belong. You brought it infield. The other one was done actually on the track when no other competitions or competitors were around. Anyway, let's hear.
Says the decision should be reconsidered.
When I heard, because it happened, and then people just started calling me, oh, this girl who just won the 400 redid your celebration. I was like, huh, what? If it was away from everyone and not really interfering with anybody, I would say reinstate her.
One clear infraction was Carla's father hopping the railing onto the track during the race.
There's a CIF rule saying you can't come over the wall, you can't be on the infield, which is a rule respected. But at this point, I explained before about being a coach and a father wearing the different hats. I saw an official grab my daughter by the arm. They were yelling in her face. When he grabbed her by the arm, I went over the wall at that point. I'm father now. I'm not coaching anymore. I'm over the wall.
Despite running a 53.24 and finishing first, Clara Adams went home with nothing. There have been no other disqualifications for unsportsmanlike conduct in 20 years, according to KSBW. She finished first, but never made it to the podium.
Even if everything goes in my favor, in regards to like getting my title back, I'll still never get that moment back, like standing on the podium as a sophomore. I'll never get that back because they took it from me.
All right. So you could say they took it away from you. There's very different perspectives that you could have with that as well. I want to show you a little bit of something else too, right? Kind of goes with this. Oh, what is all that? All right. I don't know if you guys heard that in the background, but it reminds me of this.
Yeah! Run it again. All right, 1-4. Linda. All day, baby, all day. Can't stop that.
Hey, coach, your shoes untied, sir.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Warren. Woo! Look at that bow. Look at that. I tied that shit. Can I get something on the boat? Let me get some. Are you crazy? What is wrong with you? What's wrong with all of you? Since when is winning not enough? Playing hard not enough? No. You have to humiliate your opponent. Taunt him after every score. You won 4 games last season. 4! What gives you the right to take the game that I love with trash talk and taunting? What gives you the right to wear Richmond on your chest and act like punks?
Coach, they were John too.
So? You can't show some class? Act like a champion? You owe me 500 push-ups apiece. On the line. Now!
Oh, man.
Now, you know why I showed that. I had to show that. There are, it is a movie. It's Hollywood, but there are a few good points on that. You don't got to be celebrating everything. We really got to tone it down. I'm not sure if she should be disqualified indefinitely. She should be some sort of punishment or consequence should be issued out. As they said, 20 years, and there wasn't a charge of unsportsmanlike conduct. So perhaps this could be a new bar. This could establish something new, so that there's no more repeat actions of this. But this is not something that I think the community has to stand behind of this foolishness, because this is what it is when it's boiled down to. It is foolishness. And you got the father, maybe this internet thing, you thought you were going to blow up. But truly, what I think this is embarrassing. Cannot be raising our kids to show out and showboat and do this. You haven't even done anything yet. You won the one race, but you ruined the rest of your day. You ruined your future on a little stupid celebration. Come on now. I'd like to know how you feel about it. Hit me with something in the comments. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Thank you for visiting. Visit my other videos. Visit me when I'm doing a live at that. But am I off here? Do we need to just tone it down a little bit? I know we think everything is our moment and whatnot, but doing all of that. And the father should feel just as guilty for putting his daughter up to that. Now, some of the reports say that, she was grabbed and berated. I didn't see any of that in the video. Definitely nobody has the right to put their hands on. But the video that they showed, which caused the father to react and jump on the field, didn't really display any of that grabbing the way that they described it in the media. So we might need to slow down on that a little bit. But I don't know. I agree that there should be some sort of consequence. You know, this shouldn't be a race issue like that. A lot of people are saying this is the same CIF that allowed trans men, women to compete against females and races and win. So there's a lot of feelings that come out about the regularity or the regulating of this sport as well. But I don't think we should be training our kids to showboat, especially when you're not even pro. You're not close to being pro. Let's have a little grace. Let's have a little dignity. Those should be the examples. Let me know what you think. Peace.